Welcome everybody to this week's Stay Connected webinar. We're glad you can join us. This week we have two project directors who have volunteered to share their experiences with Lights On Afterschool, which is the only nationwide event that celebrates after-school programs, the work you do, and the opportunities that you bring to the students who attend your programs. So we'll give you a chance to hear from them. Patricia Sanchez-Stewart from Lexington and Nola Derby-Bennett from Lincoln will be sharing. And then some other experienced directors are on too. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of time for you to add to the conversation. And any of you are welcome to ask questions throughout the webinar too. So on behalf of the Get Connected Conference partners and planning committee, we welcome you to this week's webinar. So thanks, Patricia, and thanks, Nola. And Patricia, I'll let you take it away.
Sure. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so you guys see it all, right? Everybody sees it? Okay, so I guess this year, last year we did not do anything such as what I'm going to share with you just because of COVID. This year we're doing similar but a smaller scale at each site, but without the community expo. So we've done this for the past, I don't know how many years. So our last one was 2019-20. And so I wanted to just, I guess, share this with you, what our Lights On After School event looks like. It's pretty large, so I wanted to share it, but you can definitely, for your community, take parts of it and tailor it to your site, or even on a lower, smaller scale. So our Lights On After School event is planned for 4 elementary sites, K through 5. There's about 60 to 70 students, 1 middle school, about 90 students that were part of this event. We had 3 components: a rally, a reception, and then community business and community expo. Our rally the program consisted of a student address, so addressing the students as to why it's important for them to be in the program. So we stressed a lot to them. We did some little activities with them as well. We had an after school program cheer. As you can see in the background, we have our students that are wearing according to the site, wearing a t-shirt, and I'll explain to you how inexpensive those t-shirts are here in a little bit. And just like we're saying, Lights On After School, and this for our rally. And this can be done again, just in your gym, just with the students that you have, not necessarily at a larger scale. You could bring it, you can just bring your, you don't have to bring all your students from all the sites together. Then we have performances right now. They are actually practicing their performance. It could be a skit, it could be a dance. In this case, we used to do skits, like some kind of theater, but it was hard for parents or for anybody to hear. So we've kind of just stuck to dancing. So here we have, I think this is Morton, the elementary, the K1. Then we have a rally. So this is really, really interactive with the students. I've been in the after school program since kindergarten. And if they said yes and they stood up, I've been in the after school program since the beginning of the school year. Good for you, that's awesome. This one's for you middle school students. I've been both in Lexington Academy and multiple choices. I am getting help in my homework after school. So this is it's a great activity because it's a visual for parents and for stakeholders that are invited to kind of see, oh, okay, of course, I love after school program. Everyone stands up. After school program rocks. I love after school program teachers. I stay in Lex Academy or multiple choices till the lights are out, meaning until the end of the day. I'm a teacher in the after school program, so you're recognizing those teachers, they stand up. So it's kind of a popcorn activity, but it's a nice visual for and everybody who's there, which there are a lot of people at this rally. That's why I'm saying that it was nicely done in 2019-20 school year, but I'm not for sure if it can be done this school year. So then we have our superintendent who introduces our guest speaker. And those guest speakers, they change from year to year, and you can have various guest speakers or one. And particularly we have for the past so many years, I think 4 or 5 years, we've pretty much asked our senator to come and give some remarks, and he's done a really good job with that, stressing. And he's one of our largest, biggest advocates in Nebraska for after school programs because of this reason that we invited him to this event. And as you can see in this picture here that, it's pretty much a large, and on the side, there's even more parents. So all these are parents that he's addressing. And so that's why it's key to have something like this. And the way to bring them in is obviously, I think, is they're there to watch their students, but also to hear about the after school program. I just think it's really, really good way to inform them. We did, Beyond School Bells helped us put an after school video together. So we did, we showcased the video with interviews from the community stakeholders. In this case, this was a parent. So we showed that. We also introduced our community, every community from what I understand, most communities have their, through their foundation, through like their Give Big, Lincoln, or Give Big Lexington, some kind of where they're donating towards an organization. And so we introduced as to why, we would like to have donations as to what it is that we're trying to seek. Might be like supplies. It might be, in this case, I think this year we had a think, create, make TMC trailer. So we were trying to stock it with, STEM type of consumables, I guess you could say. And so this is when you introduce like whatever fundraiser you're doing. And so the event actually, the fundraiser took place in November. So it's just, if people, as they're sitting there thinking, we want to donate towards this cause. So this is just, we give them a form, and it's just a part of the program, on their program form, and then they can donate, or then go online and donate on their own. Then we do part of the rally, or part of the Lights On After School program, which is what we're emphasizing this year, is recognizing staff and community individuals that are part of our program. So in this case, we were recognizing community partners, staff that are part of our program. And then the following year, I think the following year after this photo, we were recognized community partners, and we kind of give them a plaque as saying, you've been on our program for so many years. And of course, you could do this in a smaller scale where you're introducing them, social media this year, or even just inviting them to that particular site, but giving them some kind of recognition, either staff or community partners. We did a program rally shout, just, like Bryan Academy, Sandoz Academy, getting them to release all that energy. Then we fed them. And so this was a very easy meal to serve. So if you wanted to incorporate food, this is coming from donations. So it was easy. Walmart did this for us. They pre-sliced them sandwich, chips, cookie, and drink. And we knew how many individuals came to our program. Here is just, because we counted the number of plates that actually went out. So that's how we know how many individuals came. So we've been averaging about 600 to 700 individuals that attend this program. And again, this is our either donated or discounted food that was provided from the community, or even parents that donated towards it. And here we are, we're just marking that they went through about 600 plus participants. Just increasing parent participation, as you saw in the pictures before, including them, we're inviting them to watch their children perform, hear about the after school programs, and also get a light meal, so they don't have to cook before they go home. Then if they want to go into the gym, we have community partners, our community partners who are there. We have about 45 to 50 organizations that are doing some kind of a hands-on activity with the students and their parents. So we have just different agencies part of this.
Did we lose Patricia?
Yes, it looks like she hasn't been able to rejoin yet.
Maybe
No.
Nola, do you want to go ahead and then we can go back to Patricia when she's able to connect again?
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
yeah, sure. I'm not going to share my screen. I only have like a couple of pictures and I didn't do a whole slideshow. So Patricia's definitely got me beat on that. But I mean, you know, Lincoln has celebrated Lights On After School for, 20 some years. Some years, every year we do some sort of an event, except for last year. And you know, it looks a lot of different ways. So I know in the past, Leanne had rented a bunch of seats or paid for a bunch of seats and had all the students go to a Lincoln Salt Dogs game. And then they had a big fireworks show afterward. And I know that that was really popular. Something that we did in the 1920 school year, which would have been celebrating our 20th anniversary of community learning centers in Lincoln, was we rented the Lincoln Children's Zoo, the new part of the Lincoln Children's Zoo. And then that was the year that the new piece of the zoo opened. And so we thought that that would be a really great way for families to, you know, get in there, maybe who hadn't been able to get over there yet since the zoo, the new part had just opened. And so they got to feed giraffes and ride the train and, you know, see the new tigers. And there's been so much more added since we did that a couple of years ago. And then we also, Lincoln Public Schools has our science focus program has a school building in the zoo. And so we were able to introduce students to what the science focus program looks like so that students maybe, if that's something that they might be interested in later on, you know, as a high school student, that they kind of knew what that looked like and could kind of put that on their radar as a potential academic pursuit when they get into high school. We always serve food. So we usually have a caterer. I think when we were at the zoo, I think we had walking tacos, but normally it's like hot dogs and burgers and stuff like that. So that has been a theme for us. Let's see, one year, usually what we do is have each one of our sites, we have 29 sites in Lincoln, and usually what we do is have each of our sites host a table. So it's either activities that they have planned and can implement with students who are coming through, students and families who are coming through. One year we actually were really working on highlighting all the partnerships that take place at all of our sites. And so we invited each of our sites to invite one of their partners to come and lead activities for students. And so that one was really interesting. One of the sites partners with like UNL's Baja Racing Club. And so they actually brought in a race car, like a little, like, it looks like a dune buggy kind of race car. Kids could climb on it, you know, kind of see what that looks like. We had lots of robotics things happening. Somebody from Extension came with the blender bikes. And so they have, you know, they make smoothies on these bikes that the kids get on and ride the bike and mix up their smoothie. And then they can take it and walk around with the smoothie that they, you know, spent some energy making. One of the other partners was UNL Rodeo Club. And so they had like, basically it's like a sawhorse with a cow head on the front. And they were doing roping. And so they were teaching the kids how to like rope and catch the bull horns. And, you know, so that was one of the partners. North Star High School has a broadcasting club. And so they brought a green screen and, you know, would let students like sort of do a weather cast or something like that with a map in the background that doesn't exist when they look at the screen. So that was a really great opportunity then to highlight all of the partners across our community who, you know, really we could not do this work without. And we could not offer the rich experiences that students get to have without these partners. So that was a really great way for us to do that. We always do a t-shirt design contest. And so we do 2 different t-shirts printed each year, one for elementary, one that has an elementary designed logo on it, and then one that has a middle and high school design logo. And so we do that every single year. We request a declaration of Lights On After School Day from our mayor, who that we then invite to come to the event along with elected officials. Patricia was mentioning their state senator. We invite city council, our mayor, the school board members, county board. So because like, you know, when the and Jan would attest to this, when the funding decisions come around, they need to know what we're doing. And so that's really good for them to come and experience that. And then it gives them an opportunity to have conversations with constituents who will then say, this is so important. We love CLC because of these experiences that our kids have. So we too have done performances in the past. We've had like different choir groups from schools, step teams have performed. Gosh, I'm trying to think what other kinds of things. We've had like little skits that students have created and have done. Those have been really fun. This year, well, okay, so last year we didn't do a gathering. We didn't do an activity because of COVID. And so we had each of our sites design a quilt square. So each one of them got a piece of fabric that, you know, was cut to a certain size, and they all designed a quilt square that represented their school or their CLC. And so some of them were like clearly very adult done and some of them were not at all, and were, you know, just given to students to design however they wanted. And so we I think we have somebody now working on putting that quilt together, and then the goal, we had hoped to be able to have it done last year, and then the quilt would just travel from school to school as a representation of, you know, the value of the full service community school at their building. This year, we are also not going to be gathering as a large group. So we have given every site some instruction to do a celebration at their site with their families. And we've given each site a budget to do that with. We are still doing the t-shirt design contest this year. One thing that I didn't say was every year we request to be on the school board agenda usually during that week of Lights On After School. It works out for us to be on the Tuesday school board during that week. And so the video in LPS that plays before each school board meeting, they usually highlight after school in that video. And then I present our SIP data. So I use that time to speak to the school board and present our you know, attendance data and all of our testing data. So, you know, we get a trial run at our SIP meeting, which always happens at the end of September, then to do that presentation to the school board. And then we have either students, we always have students present in the audience. And so they're wearing their CLC design, you know, their student design t-shirts. We usually try to fill the audience. And then a couple years ago, we had a student, I think we had an elementary and a middle school student speak about their experience in CLC. And then we usually always try to invite a parent to speak as well. So I think those are really great testimonials for the school board to hear the impact and the need that exists. And then one year we had a staff person at one of our sites who actually was a former CLC kid. And so he talked about having been, you know, come up in CLCs, but then, you know, being drawn back to the work when he was in college. And so that was a really interesting and moving presentation as well. So we'll do that part again this year. We probably won't pack the boardroom because, again, we don't want to have a lot of people in one spot. But on our social media this year, we are going to do 29 days of CLC. So we will do a run up all the way to October 28th of highlighting each one of our sites. And so we've already have a Google form out for each of our sites to share, you know, some highlights from their site. And then we'll share, you know, photos from each site on our social media. So, you know, unfortunately, COVID forces us to do it a little bit differently, but it also allows us to be extra creative. And so we're going to highlight all of our sites through the month of October on our social media as well. So that's kind of what we do. We actually ask a team of our school community coordinators to do a lot of the planning. It's their opportunity to celebrate themselves. And so we don't want to dictate what that celebration looks like. We like for them to, you know, be creative and do as much of the planning as they have the capacity to do. So that's kind of what our Lights On After School looks like.
Excellent suggestions and ideas. Did you say you had a couple photos you wanted to share? Nola?
I have a couple from the zoo. I can share my screen if you want to see them. It's just really outside of the zoo, but that was kind of a fun thing. I don't have any pictures of it, but can you see it? I think you should be able to.
Not yet.
Oh, I got to double click maybe. Oh, I got to hit share. I'm super bad at this, you guys. After all this time, you'd think I would be better at running Zoom, but I'm not. We did actually also have several of our sites. Someone from their site wore their school mascot costumes. So we have like one photo where there's like a buffalo and like a coyote and all these different mascots. So that was really kind of fun having all the mascots walking around the zoo, as well as just having you know, giving people access to the zoo. So
And it looks like Patricia was able to join us. So maybe we can give her a few minutes to finish
yeah.
up.
Welcome
Yeah,
back,
sorry
Patricia.
about that. Let's see here. Hold on, let me see. I don't know what happened. Hold on, let me see if I can get this. Okay, so as I was saying, sorry, so anyway, to seek new partners is our goal for our expo. And of course, funders, so potential funders, because it isn't just community partners, but there's also businesses there, like maybe an auto place or something like that. And then of course, increase awareness for our reception, or expo. I mean, we did have a STEM area 1 year. And so that was a nice little like added to area to have students focus on STEM activities. So I just wanted to finish up with just saying some of the successful strategies to determine what the main goals for the event is, create a program around those goals using a limited budget, event planning, set up committees. Although I do like the idea that Nola said that, you know, asking like your site coordinators to, or, you know, for them to focus on what they want to do for because sometimes, you know, it just seems like this comes from my ideas or, you know, management team, but sometimes it's just like asking the staff what they want to do. I assigned individuals responsible for each task, reach out to community businesses and organizations and agencies who are currently participating in your program and see how they like to be involved in it in the Lights On After School. Invitation to all stakeholders, communicate information to the event with the district staff, media, parents, special invitation to administrators, Beyond School Bells, community partners, Chamber of Commerce. Follow up with appreciation luncheon, invite exhibitors to a special lunch to share the highlights and invite them to get involved in the after school program. So we did do this a couple years in a row where we did a luncheon afterwards with those that were a part of it and just thanking them to be part of it, but also then asking them, now how would you like to be involved? And then the event logistics, transportation for our event anyway, decorations, technology support, seating arrangements, crowd control, and staff response with student events for an event such as the one I mentioned. And this is a picture what we had a luncheon afterwards as just as a follow-up. And I think this is very key because you put in a lot of money or time into the Lights On After School, but let's follow up a month later, 2 months later with you know, just keep getting it in the eyes and in the view of the community. I think that's all. Oh, I think pretty much about stakeholders, keeping communication with stakeholders right after the event. So any questions that you have for me? One more thing. Finding people who are passionate about your program. This is the best way to communicate, or not best ways to guarantee their strong level of commitment for the event. They understand that the event is working towards the goals and they themselves believe in it. And such volunteers as student councils, parent, teachers, and staff, and from other schools as well. Any questions you have for me? Okay, let me stop this. Sorry about the earlier. So yeah, we're planning to do something not to this extreme, but at each site, and we will be having t-shirts. The t-shirts, just so you know, for all those students, we got it through a printing press here in Kearney, and it was about a little bit less than $5, about $4.50. So that's really reasonable for all those t-shirts.
Mhm.
They're all really great suggestions. Thanks for sharing, Patricia and Nola. Does anyone have any questions for Nola either? We do have some experienced directors on the webinar. If anyone would like to unmute themselves and share their most exciting activity that they've done, feel free. Every event looks different, so.
I'd love to have people share some ideas in the chat too about what are your goals for these events, because that'll help us kind of get a better picture of what all, because I've heard lots of different things today, and I'd like to hear what are you trying to accomplish?
If you're new to celebrating Lights On After School, the actual date posted on the Lights On After School website is October 28, 2021, but you do not have to hold your event on that day. You can spread it out over time, make it work for your program and your students, your families, your partners.
Kim, I think that's an important thing. I know we've celebrated Lights On After School. This will be our 21st year here at Chadron Public Schools, so it's a long time. We've done a lot of things. And that was one thing, we always did them on the same night, the actual night, for years and years and years. Of course, we started out with one program and then expanded. So right now I let my site coordinators decide when they're going to sponsor their program. And it really helps families too, because if a lot of them have a child in the primary school and also the middle school or whatever, and then they can't get to 3 different celebrations. So I kind of let them spread it out, because then they're like picking one child over the other if they go to the 3rd and 4th grade building and then they miss the middle schooler celebration. So I kind of let them spread it out. I think that's worked a lot better for parent and for me, because then I would have to choose which site I go to that night, because they typically do it site-based. It's, you know, that celebration there within that community, those school partners, and then our school partners travel to that. So I think that's a good thing. I think the photo booth is super popular. Somebody put that in the chat. The Lights On After School photo booth has been super popular. And I think it's a really good way to honor staff, community partners, get the word out. It's been hard when we couldn't. Last year, we just had celebrations within the students, you know, when the parents couldn't join or the community partners, that was really hard. So hopefully we can open that up a little bit more this year. Not a lot, but a little bit more.
I just wanted to add, ours has always been awareness, a goal, but I feel strongly this year, and I don't know, it's going to take a lot of work, but it's just focusing in on rebuilding after school program, because I feel like it just crashed last year with everything. And so it's just building again. And I'm even thinking about just having some kind of a board, you know, saying, how do we rebuild, and how do we did such a great job leading up to COVID. And then now it's like, back to square one. So again, rebuilding, bringing Lights On After School, awareness as well, but just we're here. We need to, you know, go at it strong again.
I would just jump in too and say that it is a national event. And so there is some publicity around it. So a lot of times the morning talk shows like Good Morning America or whatever, they will speak about it being Lights On After School. They usually light up the Empire State Building every year for Lights On. So you can kind of piggyback on some of that media attention locally, you know, if you choose. And then at the very beginning of the chat today, Kim posted the link to the After School Alliance website. They have a ton of resources on there that will help you. You don't have to make all this up yourself. They've got very easy to use templates and things that you can use to kind of tailor it to what you're going to be doing.
One other thing with the national promotion is that they usually have like, first of all, you can register your Lights On After School event. So it will list your event with all the other things that are happening nationally, which is kind of fun. And sometimes they send you some stuff. I think like we've gotten, I don't know, like Cliff Bars and things like that, like snacks that we've handed out. But then they also usually have a hashtag. So, when you're doing social media promotion, you can use that hashtag, and then it will show up in the feed that is on their webpage. And then one year, I think we submitted photos, and they actually had like a photo page where your photos could show up on the page too. So we had a bunch of banners printed for our 20-year anniversary, and we took pictures of our banners and then and put those on the page. And so it was with all these other events that were, it actually kind of looked like a Zoom screen a little bit, and it had all these photos from different sites across the nation that were celebrating Lights On After School. So that was kind of fun too. So I would definitely recommend looking at the After School Alliance's page, because they do have, like Jan said, great templates. Also, if I saw that Sandra had talked about the declaration of the Lights On After School Day, I have the proclamation language that our mayor's office uses to sign the proclamation every year. So if anybody wants that language, I'm happy to send that so that, you could submit that to it's really easy to do. We just ask like the mayor's office administrative staff to print it for us every year. So we have like a whole stack of these proclamations in our office. But yeah, I have that language, all the whereases, if anybody wants that language. So I'm happy to share.
Thank you. It's such a great opportunity to share what the great work you're doing in your programs with folks like your school board, your mayor, politicians, senators, in addition to families, your community partners. You guys are really creative about helping to promote your programs and spread the word. Nola and Patricia, if people have questions, can they get in touch with you?
Oh,
Okay.
sure. I have a lot of, templates. I also have the proclamation as well. I have, some just information that, so they can just email me, or I can send you the PowerPoint as well, Kim, so we would share with everybody.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your wealth of expertise and experiences, and thanks to all of you for joining. We're looking forward to hearing more about your Lights On After School celebrations. So take some photos and keep us posted on your plans. So thanks everyone. We are planning on an October Stay Connected webinar on full service community schools. So we will get the date posted on the Stay Connected site, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks everyone. Enjoy the end of our nice summer weather.